Oh, welcome, Greg. Thanks, first of all, being at our security bootcamp event at SecureLink. Please introduce yourself.
Sure, thank you, and thanks for the invite. What a great event this is. So, I'm the Vice President and Chief Technology Officer for FireEye Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
Okay, I have a few questions today for our SecureTV platform, just to help customers understand the future direction on securities. So I was wondering, my first question is, what do you see as the most urgent issue in our industry?
So I think really, to me, the most critical issue is how we actually measure success of cybersecurity. And we've been used to measuring it in terms of volume, how many things we stop or let through. But I think we have to realize less is more. The volume of things generally are generic and therefore have limited business impact, whereas the targeted is far more impactful. And therefore we have to be able to find those things that are narrow and deep and reduce the impact. And really that means having much more bidirectional security, not just stopping the defense, but also the exfiltration.
And you mean especially the targeted one, the unknown ones, which you don't understand or didn't know that they're happening, and they're busy for a long term already in your organization. These are the ones you're pointing at.
Absolutely. We now see that just under 80% of all of the attacks that are out there that we're monitoring hit purely one company. So if you can't find it for yourself, nobody else will. And the median time for those companies to find they've been breached at the minute is 243 days.
Amazing.
That's a lifetime.
It is. My second question is, how do you predict the future of security for devices and mobile devices?
So I think we really are moving away from this kind of traditional environment of we come in the office and we use our computer to really any device, any place, anywhere. And there's a couple of things happen there. One is we start to blur our lives together, but the other thing is now it really opens up the attack landscape. So already we're really seeing mobile devices being used very heavily for reconnaissance. I think what we'll see is they will become a far more integral part of the attack life cycle over the next few years, especially as we're starting to see mobile commerce really taking off now. And if you think criminals are after money, if there's high value money and also high value information, I expect to see a lot more happen in this space.
Okay, fair enough. What will be the biggest threat in 2 years from now, seen from your point of view or seen from the point of view of FireEye?
So I think the most rudimentary challenge for us is almost education. So it's not keeping pace with what's going on and not being able to respond to it. If I look at how I see that problem manifesting itself, it is the attacks getting ever more and more personal, the volume of information and our dependency on technology growing, therefore the implications, the impact getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I think the other part of this is just the interconnectivity that we have between all of us. So whilst we've worked so hard to build up our own security, there's also now how does that fit into our supply chain, our ecosystem.
Yeah, very good. Lots of security services are being offered from the cloud. How about privacy of the people and the data integrity? How do you see this?
Well, I think there's a balance point here. If we look at security, some of the skills required to achieve it, for example, incident response, which is going to become more and more critical. We've been used to just, there's a problem, sweep it under the carpet, and we can no longer do that. That requires really highly sophisticated skills. If I'm a large company, I have those skills. Many companies, I can't afford that. So I think there's a balance point that says, you know what, sometimes I need to use services because it's better than me doing it myself. But there's the trade-off, and the trade-off is, actually, what am I potentially putting in the cloud? Is it my most sensitive information resource? Or is it those things that actually aren't so sensitive and the economies I get from putting it in the cloud and the business value outweigh the risks? So I think what I've seen already is companies looking at the cloud and saying, low risk resource, absolutely cloud is a brilliant way to go, but we have to figure out what that balance point is.
My last question to you is, what do you want to leave to our participants today?
So I think really for me, there are those couple of key messages for the participants here. I think it's understanding that we are going through that next evolution of the threat. And to me that means, number one, realizing that this idea of APT and advanced threat isn't just government. It's something that we're seeing hitting every organization, small, medium, large, in every industry space. And that means we've got to change what we do. We've got to do our own discovery. We've got to find the threat ourselves. Most key to that though is, from a regulatory perspective and from a personal perspective, we can no longer just focus on defense. We have to think about resilience. How do we respond when things do happen? And that means we've got to be able to not only discover, but contain quickly. 243 days, that should be hours.
So reduce the time.
We need to reduce that time down, which means we need to be able to go through that forensic process to understand the human element. What was it they did? Why did they do it? Put some attribution behind that attack. Is this critical to the business, or is this just a would-be hobbyist?
And if so, contain it and respond to it.
Absolutely.
Okay, Craig, thank you very much for being here today, and thank you very much for this interview. Most welcome.
Thank you.